Ah, greetings, my scholarly friend. It's the Duke of Dreadmore here once again, with tales from the campus, so haunted, so grim, where shadows grow deep and the lights start to dim. Beneath ivy arches with ghostly aglow, the halls twist and shift into horrors unknown. The university waits with a hunger unwhole. A battle begins for each student's soul. These three ghastly tales of university fun are chocked full of horror. There's a deranged stalker, a troubled soul, and a student who, well, let's just say, longs for more excitement.
My name is Jake. I never imagined that college, a place of fresh starts and new friendships, would become the stage for my worst nightmare. Have you ever felt like someone was stalking you? I did, and nothing could have prepared me for what came next. It all began at an informal dorm get-to-know-your-neighbor party. I was trying to fit in, laughing with other students and exchanging small talk, when I first noticed him. Liam. Unlike everyone else, his eyes were locked on me, fixed with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. He looked out of place in his bold blue satin tracksuit, a Russian-style zip-up jacket with matching pants that screamed for attention in the most unsettling way. At one point, Liam leaned in, his voice low and eager. "You seem cool, man. We should totally hang out. You should come by sometime." I replied casually, "Yeah, for sure. I'll hit you up," merely trying to be polite. We exchanged numbers, but when he whispered, "Don't forget," something in his tone made my stomach churn. After that night, I began seeing him everywhere. I'd be browsing in the campus bookstore, and there he was. I'd grab coffee before class, only to find him at a nearby table, stirring his drink without actually taking a sip. Occasionally, he'd ambush me with remarks like, "Hey bud, still waiting to hang out? You got my number right?" I'd offer a half-hearted, "One of these days, bro, I've just been busy." At first, I chalked it up to coincidence, a familiar face in a sea of strangers. But soon the encounters became unnervingly frequent. Then the texts started rolling in. "Hey man, wanna chill? Bro, you around? You said you'd hit me up. You ignoring me?" Initially, guilt set in. I told myself he was just a lonely guy looking for a friend. Yet, the messages kept coming, day after day, multiple times daily. It felt less like a call for companionship and more like the relentless pursuit of someone who wouldn't take no for an answer. The more I ignored him, the more I sensed I was provoking something dangerous. One late night, while walking to the nearly deserted after-hours campus snack shack, I sensed something was off. Even the booming bass of my mumble rap couldn't drown out the creeping dread. A chill ran through me. I glanced over my shoulder and, under a flickering streetlight, saw a hooded figure standing unnervingly still. My heart pounded as I couldn't discern his features beyond the dark silhouette of the hood and the slight turn of his body toward me. I quickened my pace, but as I passed a row of trees, I spotted him again, this time lurking behind a tree, barely visible, yet unmistakably watching. I knew then I was being stalked. The figure's build matched Liam's, and my blood ran cold. Determined to confront him, I strode toward the shadow, only to have him vanish behind a building in an instant. I vowed, tomorrow, I'll put an end to this once and for all. I'll talk to campus security, or if necessary, I'll take matters into my own hands. I wasn't exactly a tough guy, but I'd wrestled in high school and survived my share of brawls. After grabbing a late snack, I returned to my dorm and eventually fell asleep, thinking the terror had passed. But in the dead of night, a faint creak jerked me awake. I lay frozen, straining to listen. Then came a slow, deliberate rustle. Not from the closet, not from the door, but from beneath my bed. My body tensed. Every muscle screamed to remain silent as my mind raced with panic. I had to move, to escape. Before I could even think, Liam emerged from under the bed, standing there with a maniacal grin and wild eyes. "Now we're hanging out, dude," he cackled. I screamed, scrambling backward as my heart hammered in my chest. His laughter was unhinged, like a twisted joke meant solely to terrify. His eyes, glinting with amusement, betrayed a darkness beyond comprehension. "You think you're too good for me?" "You're too much of a big man on campus," he spat. All my earlier bravado evaporated in an instant. I bolted from the room, sprinting out of the dorm building into the frigid night. I didn't dare look back until I reached the campus security office. Lungs burning and legs aching, I recounted every detail: the stalking, the incessant messages, the break-in. I was met with a single ultimatum: stay away from each other. That was it. No expulsion, no investigation, just a thinly veiled warning. If either of us violated that condition, there would be repercussions. I was furious and terrified. How was I supposed to live knowing he lurked near my dorm, his eyes following me even in the dining hall? The burden became unbearable. In desperation, I made a choice. I left school abruptly, escaping the relentless anxiety of always looking over my shoulder. It was the only way I could reclaim some semblance of sanity. For years, I tried to bury the memories. I transferred, finished my studies at another university, and attempted to move on. Then, one day I saw Liam again. This time on the news. The newscaster's words hit me like a punch to the gut. Suspect on trial for murdering a reluctant friend. I sat frozen, staring at the screen. There he was, wearing that same uneven, eerie grin. The same man who had stalked me and crept under my bed in the dead of night. But now, he'd escalated. His latest friend hadn't managed to escape his obsessive grip. Liam had killed someone. A chill ran through me as I wondered, if I hadn't left, could I have been his next victim? What exactly did he want from me? And why? Those questions have haunted me all these years. College was supposed to be a fresh start. Instead, it became a nightmare I narrowly escaped. People like Liam exist. They might smile and seem friendly at first, but behind that facade, something is deeply and disturbingly wrong. So I leave you with this. Be careful who you trust, because sometimes the distance between safety and danger is measured in mere footsteps. And in my case, those footsteps came from under the bed. And perhaps the next twist in the tale is yet to come, as I just phoned the police to tell them I have some information that might help their case. It's 2007 and this really happened to me at university. I swear, you know what they say? Truth is stranger than fiction. So, I'm Paul. Just your average STEM major, the kind of guy who spends more time debating theoretical physics than having actual conversations. My idea of fun? Updating my PC's Windows updates, reading dark, obscure sci-fi, and maybe playing a few rounds of chess online if I feel particularly adventurous. Socializing. Not really my thing. There's a girl in my advanced algebra class, though. A red-haired math genius who sits 3 rows ahead of me. I've never spoken to her. Not once. I've rehearsed conversations in my head, sure. But every time she walks past, my brain decides to abandon ship. But I will talk to her one day for sure. Like when I am famous on campus for something or other. It might happen. That night, I got back to my dorm room from chess club and got ready for bed. The same routine as always. Pascal, my chameleon, lazily shifted colors in his terrarium, while Newton, my turtle, did what turtles do, exist slowly. I had just shut down my laptop, crawled in bed, and turned off the lights, when I heard it. A rustling and soft thump. At first, I thought it was Newton shuffling around in his tank, or maybe Pascal being his usual weird self. But then, I realized something else was in my room. I reached for the bedside lamp with shaking fingers. I didn't want to believe it. Maybe I was sleep-deprived. Maybe I was imagining things. But then my closet door swings open and a dark figure lunges from the closet. I swear my soul left my body. My breath hitched. My blood froze. I couldn't even scream. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. And that's when I saw it. A person, dressed in tight, glittering clothes, a wild grin on his face, his eyes wide with excitement. His makeup is smudged, his lipstick uneven. And he is speaking, a rapid stream of words I don't understand. He was talking to me, number yelling, in some language I couldn't place. But it wasn't just the words. It was his energy, his hands flailing, his body jumping onto my bed, sitting on top of me. I pull my head back against the headboard and try to move my body away from his weight, my eyes wide with terror. The intruder claps his hands, seemingly overjoyed, and shouts, I was frozen. Was this it? Was this how I die? Strangled by a glitter-covered psychopath in my own dorm room? The man suddenly pulls something from his tiny sequined bra riding low on his hairy chest, a feathered fan, and waves it dramatically in my face, brushing it seductively over my skin. I swear my brain short-circuited right then. I couldn't decide if I should scream, fight, or just accept my fate. The intruder finally noticed my absolute terror. He paused, blinked, and said, "No es tu cumpleaños?" What seemed like a long and painful silence ensued. We simply stared at each other blankly. The intruder suddenly leapt off the bed, landing on the floor with surprising grace. He spun, unfastened his glittery pants, and before I could scream a protest, with a dramatic flourish he yanked them down, revealing tight, sparkling purple shorts. Oh, thank God and good gracious no, I thought to myself. What horribleness is going on here? Am I in danger, or have I jumped into a different reality on some messed up quantum timeline? That was like the Rocky Horror Picture Show? He then, beaming with pride, raised a small crumpled banner that read, "Happy Birthday," in bold, colorful letters. My fight-or-flight instincts were now just broken. I was dumbstruck, and God-smacked. And then just like that, the dorm door swung open. A confused security guard peered inside. "Oh hell, wrong room again?" he asked. The intruder turned, giggled, and gave a cheeky salute before strutting out, swinging his hips like a runway model, leaving me in complete, stunned silence. The security guy gave me a whimsical, "What you going to do?" shrug, and closed the door behind him. I stayed frozen, eyes wide, still processing. The room was silent again, except for the faint sound of Newton the turtle slowly doing whatever turtles do. I sighed, exhausted. And then the pieces fell together in my mind. It was a birthday surprise, for the wrong room. After this night of terror, of all the possible reactions I could have, like extreme anger, you know what? I just smiled, shook my head chuckling at the absurdity of it all. I thought, maybe I do need more excitement in my life, and I silently fell fast asleep. And I dreamt of talking to the red-haired girl in class tomorrow. It's spring in 1999. I'm a freshman in general studies at a Midwestern university in Ohio, and I am the prettiest girl at university, loved by all. I twirl before the mirror, the fabric of my red dress swirling around my legs. It's perfect. The deep shade complements my pale skin, the sequins catching the dim bedroom light like tiny winking eyes. Tonight is going to be magical. Tonight, everyone will see me the way they're supposed to. I trace my fingers over my reflection, smiling, whispering, "It's our night, Emma." The dance is held at the university's basketball gymnasium, a relic from the 1960s, its walls adorned with peeling banners and faded championship plaques. A massive chandelier, borrowed from the theater department, hangs from the rafters, its crystals refracting sparkles that dance on the walls. The scent of punch, sweat, alcohol, and perfume cling to the air, thick and lovely. I enter the gym with quiet confidence, my head high, my heels clicking sharply against the polished wood floor. Heads turn. They always turn. Boys' eyes widen, their conversations pausing mid-sentence. Some girls sneer, whispering behind manicured hands. I don't care. I know who I am. They all do too. A slow song hums through the speakers, and I drift into the throng of students. I feel myself gliding, elegant, graceful, my movements effortless. I catch a glimpse of Adam by the bleachers, his strong jaw set, dark eyes scanning the crowd. He looks different in a suit, more mature. He belongs to me. I approach him, my demeanor confident, self-assured, drowning out the laughter and chatter around me. "Adam," I purr, reaching for his hand. He stiffens at my touch. "Dance with me," I say. His face pales. He stammers, something incoherent. I press a manicured finger to his lips. "Shh." I smile. "Let's dance." He hesitates but allows himself to be led onto the dance floor. I place his hands on my waist, savoring the warmth of his touch, the way his pulse hums beneath his skin. We sway, the world shrinking down to just the two of us. The moment is perfect. It's exactly how I imagined it. After the dance, I mingle with other students, my hands lingering on their arms a little longer than necessary. My voice soft, teasing, perfect. They welcome me, embrace me. I am Emma, the most beautiful girl on campus. Lila hands me a drink at some point, an anxious wrinkle to her lips. "You should have this," she says, pressing the glass into my hand. I accept it without hesitation, sipping the cool liquid as I revel in the warmth of the moment, the music, the attention. And then the world tilts. My breath hitches. "No," I gasp. My fingers go numb, the glass slipping from my grasp. I try to speak, but my lips won't move. The music fades and darkness rushes in. And now, I wake up, in a mental hospital with a name badge on my gown that says, Sophie. They tell me I'm sick and confused. They say I have schizophrenia, and that I had a psychotic break with reality. I am told again my name is Sophie, that I'm Emma's roommate at university, that what I did on the night of the dance was wrong, and I need to remember. I am Sophie, a 21-year-old woman from Kentucky, an only child with no father and barely a mother. According to the hospital psychiatrist, Emma's friends knew. The students at the party saw right through me from the start. The makeup, the dress, it hadn't fooled anyone. Lila, Emma's friend, had a bad feeling. She went back to check on Emma and found the vial of tranquilizer I had given her. Emma woke up. She was fine. It was me they were watching at the dance, and me they set up. They made sure I drank the drug and made sure I was incapacitated by the time the police arrived. Now the hospital staff wants me to write everything down. They say it will help bring clarity and help me remember who I am. I should write down how I am special and a valued person. So I write. I, Sophie, was never the pretty one. That was Emma, my roommate, the golden girl, the one everyone loved. Perfect hair, perfect teeth, a perfect life. And me? I was just the dull shadow no one ever noticed. I remember that night, sitting on my bed, watching her from across the room get ready for the dance. She hummed as she put on her lipstick, slipping into that tight red dress, the one I always imagined myself in. She was going out, again, with her perfect friends, her perfect boyfriend, Adam, living the life that I should have. That's when I set my plan in motion to take over Emma's life. It seemed foolproof, and now, because of that night, everything has changed. I stare at the notebook in front of me, the words blurring together. I'm supposed to write that I'm sorry, but I'm not. I am the prettiest girl at university, loved by all. I am Emma. There is no Sophie.
Thank you for listening to my true stories. I bid you a fond adieu, my little sheep. Sleep well, if you can.